Softball on the shoulder. This is one of my personal favorites, working that shoulder. What Janelle's got going on right here is we're just taking a women's softball, a baseball, a lacrosse ball, those work as well. The softball gives a little bit more surface area, especially when you're new and you're not really sure how to do it or where to put it. The softball works really well. We like to have the arm down by the side. We find it makes it easier to kind of dig into the front of that shoulder. So Janelle's kind of going back and forth, a little bit left to right, maybe a little bit of circular motion. Essentially what you want to do is you want to find that spot where you really kind of lights you up and you feel it. Now what you can also do when you're doing the shoulder is go up into the pec, up into the high part up in here, across the clavicle. So she's just going to dig in and move around, and she's going to find those sensitive spots. Now with this one, you want to be pretty careful because some people can really just get lit up. But what you're doing essentially is you're pushing your body into that ball at the, the level of tolerance or level of pain that you can handle. We're not looking for a 10 on the scale, but we want to really dig in there. As you become a little bit more skilled, a little more comfortable, a little more aware of your body with this, you can actually start using a smaller ball, all the way even down to a golf ball. And that really lets you dig it and pinpoint in certain spots and kind of getting in between the muscles. The chest, the bicep tendon comes up into the shoulder. You've got your shoulder muscles. Obviously, there's a lot going on up in this joint here. So we want to be able to kind of separate and dig into those muscles and find out what's bugging you. Sometimes you've got shoulder pain. It's actually coming from the bicep tendon. Just as a simple example, it could be coming from the lat wrapping up into the shoulder. So there's a lot of things going on into that shoulder. You want to use that ball to kind of dig in and find out what's happening. There you have it, softball or balling the shoulder. Foam rolling the lats. Now foam rolling the lats can be a little bit awkward. It does take a little bit of core strength, a little bit of coordination. We see people fall off the rollers all the time. Okay, there you go. So what we want to do is we want to get that roller right up into the armpit. It's a good place to start. Arm is kind of straight. Now some folks, if they're really sensitive, this is actually one of Janelle's tough spots right here. She can kind of just work it like that and she's going to feel plenty of it. If you spend a lot of time on a laptop or a lot of time on a computer, even just a regular keyboard or like an Apple keyboard are kind of small, it probably have a lot of stuff going on in here. Janelle certainly does, so she really can kind of dig in there. It doesn't have to go too hard to find it. But others, really got to get after it. That's me. I actually lift the hips up off the ground and I kind of grind into it and roll up and down. And what we're going to do here is we can go all the way down into the obliques, across the ribs. We get this entire, remember the lat's coming right down here, but we've also got all the oblique muscles in here, the serratus muscles, that can all get locked up too. So down around those ribs. We come up towards the armpit, and then we can even get into a little bit of the tricep, the back of the arm. We can roll back a little bit, get the back of the shoulder. So a lot of things we can do here. We can tilt forward a little bit, kind of get a little lat and pec combination. What we're doing is just searching. We're looking for that spot, looking for those knots, digging in. But this one, as you can tell, it is a little bit awkward. You might have to stop and go, but find your spot, work it best you can. It really does make a tremendous difference from a develop better posture, because we can hopefully lose some of this tightness and open up a little bit. And really, a lot of pain in the arms, the shoulders, the back can all be stemming from really tight lats. So get after it with this one. This is foam rolling the lats. The dead bug, another one of these funny, weird named exercises. You feel kind of goofy doing it, but boy, is this one of the best core activation exercises you can do to really get your brain connected into your core. Also is going to help build some upper body, lower body coordination with what we call cross-connecting. So what I'm going to have Janelle do is lie back. And the dead bug position, just the starting position, is going to be feet up, legs at 90 degrees, so we can bring back a little bit, okay? And then hands straight up in the air, okay? So right about there. Now we can work arms, we can work legs, we can work combination and cross-connecting. So let's just start off, first and foremost, just getting a good breathing pattern here. And what we want to do is we want to maintain contact with the floor here the entire time. So she wants to get a good 3-second inhale, a good 6-second exhale, belly breathing while maintaining contact with the floor. That constant contact with the floor is really going to start lightening those abs up and getting the deep core working. Now let's start with just one arm. We'll have her go ahead and do the left arm. She's going to inhale, bring that back up, my bad. She's going to take her inhale first for 3 seconds without moving the arm, and she's going to exhale for 6. Okay, reaching as far as she can, then she'll come back up for 3, down for 6. Now as she's doing that, here's what I'm looking for, what she's trying to pay attention to. As she moves that arm, she wants to make sure, number one, she doesn't lose contact, the lower back with the ground. That's staying tight. Number two, we want to make sure that the ribs are not flaring. Her sternum should not be heading towards her head that way. Everything is staying locked in. Okay? And when we bring the arm back, often the ribs will start to flare. That's a weakness in the core. So that's the first thing we're looking for. Now, she obviously could alternate arms with each breath. She could work one side, depending on what the ultimate goal is. Are we working to really get some movement in that shoulder while working the core? Is it all about the core? Is it cross-connect? That's for you to determine, or for me to determine with you, what you're going to be doing. Now, the next thing we might do is we might go ahead and just work the legs. Okay, so she has her hands up in position again, and let's just extend one leg out on the exhale and coming back in for a 3-second on the inhale. Now, as she's doing this, you can hold for a second because this does get a little tiring. Once again, we're looking for that connection here. No movement here, okay? Sometimes we get a little spastic and we move our hands with our legs. So the only thing moving, let's go ahead and do the left leg. She's pushing that leg out, and we want that to ideally be on a 6 count, and coming back in on a 3 count, okay? You can rest your legs for a second. Now, as she's doing this, things to focus on. When we're bringing the arm back, we're trying to get long, but keeping the ribs down. When we're pushing the leg out, we're trying to get long, so we're leading with the heel, pushing that foot out, but obviously making sure that we're not, disconnecting from the low back. That's going to be really, really important. Okay, we shouldn't feel anything in terms of low back pain. If we're feeling low back pain, chances are we're lowering our leg too much. So don't think you have to get, hovering, an inch off the ground. Some people are going to be up here, and that's just fine. Now, once we've got comfortable with both of those, either working just the arm or just the leg, it can be alternating arms, it can be alternating legs. Now we want to do what we call a cross connect. Okay, and in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to bring the arms up, I'm going to bring the legs up. Okay, we'll start with connecting the right hand to the left knee. Okay, and this connection actually is important from a neurological standpoint, in terms of coordination. That right, left, really important. Think about babies crawling. They have to learn how to use right and left. And we see it as adults, people who haven't played in a long time. If you don't play, you lose a lot of that coordination. And cross-connecting actually becomes really difficult. You see people's arms kind of going all over the place. They can't figure out how to get there. It's kind of funny in a sense that it's amazing how we lose this as we get older if we don't keep playing. So we do cross-connect activities to get that coordination going. So she'd start with an inhale, as always. 3-second inhale. 6 seconds, she's going to exhale. Arm and leg are going to go. And then she's going to inhale back up. Now, she does really well. You can see there's no movement here in this hand and no movement in this knee. So as she goes, do another one. Oftentimes, we'll see this hand go too. And we lose that, okay? She's actually really good at this, so she's having a hard time doing it badly. So what I want to show is this hand goes back, this leg goes forward, and oftentimes I'll see either this hand go back or this hand will go with this leg. So extend that leg, and we'll see this. You can go ahead and rest your legs. We have a hard time with somebody just holding this still and this going down. We often see this and this, okay? That is just a lack of really good, strong neuromuscular communication and control. And that's what we're trying to develop here. Strong, stable core, but also good neurological control over the body and how you move it. So it's really important that we're keeping everything still except for what's supposed to be moving. If it's one limb, an arm, or one limb, a leg, or it gets a little more challenging when we're doing opposites. So let's go one more time, and let's do a cross connect, right to left. She starts there with a 3-second inhale, exhales for 6. She's got this locked in beautifully. We're locked in. She comes back and goes. She'd work one side for a time period, a number of reps, and then you go ahead and work the other. And that is going to be basically our cross-connect version of our dead bug. So dead bug arms, dead bug legs, dead bug cross-connect. The incline push-up. Now the idea with the incline push-up is the higher I bring her hands or elevate her hands off the floor, the easier the push-up is going to be. So this is a great progression for folks who have difficulty doing a good, straight, solid push-up. This can be done from the toes. This can be done from the knees. I'm going to have Janelle demonstrate from the knees. So she's going to get into a good position. First thing we're going to look for is a long, straight, controlled spine. So from this position, I can see I've got tailbone to shoulders, and then she's going for it right now. If I put my hand here, she's going to bring her head back so we're straight. We don't want that head tucking down. We want to keep that all straight and solid. Now she's going to go ahead and just inhale down. She's keeping the arms tight to the ribs and drive through doing that incline push-up. We've got no movement here. Okay, it's down. We've got strong, stable core. And then she's going to go ahead and drive through. Okay, come on off. So to make this more challenging, we could lower the blocks, or we could take it obviously to the floor, which would be a more traditional push-up, or if you struggle with a toe push-up and the block push-up is too difficult on your toes, you could start off with an incline push-up by going into that modified position. A toe push-up is basically the same. I'll jump in here real quick. And Janelle can be monitoring my position. So being in this position, having the hands up makes it a little bit easier. If I'm locked in, I want to make sure that I've got good position. I'm not here. I'm not doing so. I'm in a good alignment. I come down and drive back through. So having those hands elevated is going to make it much easier than a standard push-up. The higher you go, the easier it's going to be. We have low bars, actually, you can't see behind the camera, low ballet bars. Those work fantastic for, because they're about this high, really working well. Another version, if you really struggle with the push-up and you're really just getting started, is we can actually take this incline to the wall. Okay, it'd be a little challenging to see, but if I put Janelle against the wall here, and she backs up a little bit, and we create this plank position, she's got her hands locked in, about chest height, good posture, and now she's going to push down or do the push-up going towards the wall and then driving out. So this would be the most basic position for an incline push-up, if you will, to really work some core strength and some arm strength. Okay? From there we can go to, say, a low bar, a bed, a couch, okay, or a bench, down to some yoga blocks, and eventually to the floor. So those are just different ways to progress the incline push-up. Prone shoulder taps. Prone meaning we're in that face down position. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to go to the top of a high plank. We're the starting of a push-up position. So we're going to get her lined up. I've got her facing you so you can see a little bit better, but just understand I've got her in a good position. She's got good alignment going. From here, it's just tap and tap. Okay, now go ahead and drop to your knees. Now, if you notice, when she was doing it on her toes, it's a little bit more advanced exercise for her. You see the rotation, or I'm sorry, the kind of the swaying back and forth. That's a little bit of lack of core strength in that position. So we want to regress her into a knee position, okay? And you can put your hands a little bit wider. We want to try and lock in this core so there's no, movement back and forth in the hips. So it's challenging. It's a lot of work to really stabilize and lock in that core. It's going to take some practice, okay? But if I lock in right here, it's kind of like the operation game. See how she's hitting my hand there? So we've got some work to do here. You can take a rest. We've got some work to do here on this particular exercise, and this is very challenging. It's going to take patience. What we want to do is if I can jump in here and if I can lock it in, you can also spread the feet a little bit wider, but in slow motion, you can see the core is really locked in. So I'm not doing that. You can see the core is really locking in, and that's what we're going for. It's not about speed. Sometimes we'll see shoulder taps like that, and it's kind of like a little bit of a metabolic speed upper body exercise. Those are fun, those are great, but what we're doing here is we're going slow, and we're really trying to get that core to lock down. So that's going to be your prone shoulder tap.